It's so interesting because most of what we know as Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma or metaphysical reality is to understand how the universe works,
Yeah.
how the subtle universe works, and how we can get a better position, better karma,
Yeah.
enjoy better sense gratitude. The
Yeah.
whole thing is about elevating your consciousness in a sort of a metaphysical way.
Yeah.
And Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita are saying, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's not it at all.
Yeah.
It's just more of the same stuff, just in a more refined way. Krishna said, ultimately, it's all temporary. Don't you get it? You're going to have to give that up too. You need to be fully, materially exhausted to get this stuff.
You know, when I saw that woman dancing today, you know,
You're like, she's a liberated soul.
well, what? Yeah, like that. Like she's liberated from these kind of concerns.
Right.
You know, it's we all have different kind of trauma and different things to get over. But what I saw in her is she's over it.
Right.
It's like, you know,
Yeah.
even though her situation seems like it was probably a very difficult situation, she's just let it all go, and she's not at all
Overly concerned what people think about her.
overly concerned, or even like in an active, conscious way, or even like scarred unconsciously. I didn't even
Sure.
see that in her. She was just
Sure.
she was free.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Sridham, Mayapur, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center, New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. It is episode 1525. Today's January 28th, 2025, and we are in beautiful West Bengal, the home of Lord Chaitanya, and what a day it's been.
Yeah, already.
Hopped in a boat, crossed the river Ganga. That was fun. Went to some
kirtan on the way.
little kirtan across the boat. All the local. It was a boat that was like, was there like a fire marshal there keeping count of how many people were supposed to be on that boat? I was like, this boat is much too small to hold this many people.
It worked though.
And there's like 3 life preservers for like 120 people that were on that
Those
boat.
are just decorations, essentially.
They might have been made out of stone.
So that you know it's a boat.
But we crossed the river Ganga. I went into Navadweep, and then went to this really cool Lord Chaitanya temple worshipped by who's Vishnupriya's deity.
That was the Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu temple. That was the deity. It's the first deity of Lord Chaitanya, and it was worshipped by his wife or his widow after he took sannyas. She stayed there. She was 16 when he took sannyas, and she worshipped it until she was 96. So 80 years she worshipped Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu. Wow. What a mood in that temple, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's special.
It was special. And then we fed the widows.
It was a widow theme today. I don't think we even intentionally did that, but it kind of played out that way, right?
Think about that. Yeah, because after that, she was a widow. We were talking about love and separation.
Yeah.
Then we went to the widows. They were widows. I was expecting much older widows.
I want older widows.
Yeah, if I'm going to feed the widows, I want old widows. They were sort of like young widows.
They were dressed colorfully. I was expecting.
Well, I was expecting all white, sari, shaved heads, but they look, they
were colorful.
Colorful
people of different ages. There were some younger ones and some older ones.
Yeah, and that's just sort of like the equivalent of a retirement home in one sense. They're all coming together.
Yeah,
and they have this widow's ashram, and they just
was that a widow's ashram, or was it just a gathering place where they pick up supplies?
Oh, I don't know. Do they live there?
It's a place where they get
no. Oh, they don't live there. Okay.
It was like a distribution point. Okay. But it was a kirtan distribution point, a food distribution point.
Nice
maybe some other kinds of care could be offered there too. That would be an interesting.
That would be really nice.
Checkups.
You work on that, Prabhu.
We should all work on it together. We could help fund it or something like that.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Beautiful people. We just for people that may not have been able to put this together. Yeah. So we went to this temple first. We had kirtan. We talked. We took darshan of the deity, and it was again related to Sri Chaitanya's widow. And then we went to this ashram where they serve the widows. Let's put it that way. And and some of us were doing kirtan and some of us were passing out food to them, and we were switching around those roles. But you know, character of the day,
Oh yeah.
there was a woman there that seemed to be like kind of in charge of things in a certain way. Like she seemed to be having some duties there.
She was a dwarf
Well,
widow.
I don't know if she was a widow or not, or if she's just a woman that's
I think
taking
she
up
was
some
one of the widows,
responsibility.
but she was a dwarf.
But she was a dwarf, and we were doing kirtan, and she was just like totally had this air of responsibility, like taking care of stuff there.
Yeah.
And then she just jumped into the kirtan and started dancing like she was a great dancer.
She was a very good dancer. I wanted to get up and dance with her.
But more than anything, it was the attitude and the joy in which she danced that said it communicated a lot to me. It was like whatever hardship she's had.
You could tell because it wasn't just like she was a dwarf. Her body was elderly. So
Yeah,
it
she
was
was
sort of
elderly.
like you could tell it was like
She was in
not
her
easier for
60s.
her to walk or something like
I
that.
don't know. I thought she was getting around.
I don't know. She seemed like she had a curved back, like
Well,
a
she was a
scoliosis or
dwarf,
something.
you know. Yeah, but
Not
she-
every dwarf has a curved back.
oh, I don't know if she had okay. Well, anyway, she. I've never seen anyone more comfortable in their own skin than that woman.
Yeah, she was very comfortable
Right?
in her
Yeah.
own skin. That's
and
for sure. She's
and she was just took such joy and excitement in the kirtan chanting with us. It was touching and moving and enlivening to see her.
I hope somebody got some photos.
We
or
did get
videos.
some.
Okay.
Everyone should share that
Okay.
video of her on the line. Maybe we can do a post with that or something like that. But she was great. You know, she was really good. We should go back and try to reconnect and do
Trying to
more of
find
that.
her.
Yeah.
Bring her on the show.
Yeah, it was nice. Rocking
What's your
kirtan.
story?
That
How
would
did
be
you come to
awesome.
Krishna consciousness?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's got to be difficult to be, you know, I'd imagine she was born not very wealthy, you know, being born as a dwarf. It's going to be hard to, you know, in life, finding someone to marry, why are you laughing? It's true. Just grow up. and
How do you know?
I said
She
I would
could be
imagine.
wealthy.
I
She
said
could be a wealthy dwarf.
I said I imagine. I said I imagine. But just see just how joyful and just like I said, like that people use that phrase, you know, like comfortable in your own skin.
Yes, she was
She
very
was like the
comfortable in her own
most. She
skin.
seemed like the most confident together person in the whole place, you know, including us. You
She
know,
did.
she was
She was
like,
very at
yeah.
home there.
yeah. So that was that, and just so into kirtan, and the ladies getting into kirtan. It was great. A really, really nice way to enter to meditate. You know, to go into a place where there's deep meditation, deep grace, and to do a little service. You know.
You know, I'm glad we're doing this trip because I came to, you know, my story. I came on my first trip to India. I came to Mayapur.
Yeah.
And I really didn't. I had some people taking care of me in Calcutta. I write about this in my book.
Yeah.
And then I went to Mayapur, but I didn't have the experience that I sort of needed in Mayapur, and I didn't know anyone.
You probably didn't know
I
anything
didn't
about
know
Lord Chaitanya or
anything. I
anything.
didn't know
like
anything about anything. I didn't
Yeah.
even believe they necessarily believe in this path
that. Right.
per se. And I went to Mayapur, and I was not greeted super warmly at the time, and there was really nothing happening in Mayapur, like within the campus area, the ISKCON temple. There was a zoo,
Yeah.
and I was like an animal rights guy. I was like, "There's a zoo."
Well,
here?
no,
This
really,
is-
it was
It was weird for me.
okay.
was weird.
It was just a big open area with some deer running around in it or something like that.
It was like a caged, open. No, it wasn't an open area. It was a closed, definitively closed area.
Well, yeah, but
they
it was
can't
a wide
go anywhere.
open space and
Well, it wasn't a box or like a
cage. They weren't
cage.
like in a cage or anything like
It
that.
was a caged in area. You could not roam freely. You were
It's
in
not a
there.
cage.
My point is,
Fenced.
I didn't quite get it, and I remember whoever's in charge of the temple or the temple commander. You know, they have
You
these
set them
positions.
free in the middle of the night.
No, I'm not. I was
Trying
going to
to throw
liberate
the
these animals.
deer over
Come
the
on, you
fence.
But I was just there. I was like, okay, what do we do here? He goes, what do you mean? What do you do here? He goes, we highly recommend you stay on the campus. And back then, the campus was nothing. I was like, stay here and do
I
what?
wanna
He
see
goes,
things.
well, I've got. Well, he's like, and he looks at me. He goes, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. I want to look around. I was like brand new. I was wandering around Vrindavan every day, walking around Vrindavan, visiting different temples.
Right.
And now I'm just going to stay in this one temple. And he said, why do you want to look around? Everything's right here. I was like, nothing's right here.
In one sense, what he's saying is totally true. In another sense, it's like so out of touch with like where you were.
Completely out of touch. He goes, here, and he handed me a stack of books. Just go around and distribute these books. I was like, no, I'm not going to distribute these books.
That's what I'm looking.
This stuff yet. At least wait till I believe in it, and then
Try to make me your proselytizer.
try to make me proselytize your mission. And so I ended up like, I gotta get out of here. And there was one lady who was probably my age or 25 or something like that from China who didn't speak a word of English practically. And I somehow motioned to her. I was like, I'm going there. She spoke maybe a few words.
Okay.
But me and her went across the boat.
We went to Navadvip.
We went to Navadvip and we just like meandered around Navadvip, but I had no clue of where I was going, what I was doing. You know, I was just like lost. But
Yes.
then I went back to Calcutta. I just couldn't do it.
But this was different.
But no, the second time I went and you and I met up and we
Okay.
went on Gormundal Prikram, and that was a whole different
Everything
experience.
opened up.
Because what happened is you go with the Dom Guru, you go with people who are literally taking you by the hand and showing you around what to do. And we
You see me as your Dom Guru?
no, not you.
No,
You were there.
You were
You were there
just
with me.
incidentally there.
That was like Raghunath Maharaj or something. And they
Dr.
organized a
Maharaj.
trip where you're going 11 days into the heart of Mayapur to all these different little temples.
Yeah.
And then you go to like we went today, we went to one, but you'd have 200 people going with you. They carry all your stuff. So all you got is your bead bag. And then you go to maybe 2 other ones on the way. And then you pull up at this one temple or open area or an old schoolhouse or something. And there's a huge feast set up for you for lunch. And like, it's like an amazing Bengali feast you've never had,
Full on.
served on the ground on giant banana leaf plates. And then you move forward for the rest of the afternoon, do the same thing. Then you get to a place at night and there's a huge camp set up with like huge tents and all the boys in one tent and all the girls in the other tent. Me and Kaustubha slept under the stars. Remember that?
I do.
We like mosquito nets, sleeping under the stars, dreaming, talking to each other, sharing our intimate thoughts of our future, our
It
hopes.
wasn't that intimate, actually.
Telling,
I wouldn't use the word intimate.
Yeah,
I would
like
find another
crying
word.
together, embracing in the jungle, telling about our hopes and dreams.
Our hearts.
She's spilling our hearts, sharing your deepest secrets with me.
And I feel like sharing some of those right now.
And then there's another huge feast, and then a huge kirtan in the evening, and getting up and do that again.
9 days.
Walking through rice fields and nothing was really developed that much.
I
around
remember
here,
one
too.
day the shower, 'cause they would set up these showers, which are like these big water tanks that are on a kind of a tall stand and with like tons of spigots like all around it.
Yes,
But I remember there's one night we were kind of like, there was a farm that had this super heavy duty pump irrigation system, and everybody just got in front of that water, and it was like so powerful. It was, like, it was just like instantly you're clean. So it was.
that was the good old days. You just take anything, but
Yeah,
it was
those are very beautiful, and those are days that opened our hearts up to Navadvip, to
I
Mayapur.
tell you, I fell in
always.
love with Mayapur on that trip. I was like, okay, this is a whole different place.
When we arrived yesterday, we stepped out of the car onto the ground of Mayapur, and the first thing you said was, "This place is paradise."
Yeah, it really special is.
Spiritual.
And
paradise.
here we are. It's a really broken age, and the idea of austerity and penance and renunciation. It seems like, are you kidding? We can't even make our bed in the morning. We need a process that's super simple. And Lord Chaitanya gave this super simple thing, which can be capsulated at the end of the Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavat with 2 statements.
This is our motto for the
This
for this retreat, I think.
This
for
is our
this
teacher.
pilgrimage.
Chant the holy name and do not criticize anyone.
2
It's
things.
that simple and that difficult. Like to sit in a really sort of like still mind where you're not agitated, where your phone is not distracting you, or can you chant without your phone nearby? Throw your phone, lock it up somewhere, and just sit and chant the holy name and try to hear the holy name. And for the rest of the day, do not criticize anyone. And do that forever. If you could do that,
Forever.
If you can do
No,
that,
at least until you
it
die.
becomes very easy. Until everything can become easy. Otherwise, things are very hard. And those two instructions are very difficult and they're also very simple.
They should
And
be
then
simple.
occasionally you feast with people you love,
Yeah.
and you serve the people that you love,
Yeah.
and you dance, and then you sing these sweet songs.
You know, there's some keys to it, I think. One is to as far as possibly associating with people who don't criticize others. You really
That's for sure.
that really rubs off on you. Another thing is I think we need to be kind of become skilled, adept at dismantling our rationalizations for criticizing others, right? Because that's
Yeah,
the
well, I'm
thing.
not criticizing. I just need to let you know about this for his benefit and yours.
We always find a rationalization. So, any case,
And just getting out of the conversation when people are going there. It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
anyway, great start. I think we're going to have a really wonderful time here. I think we're off to a great start.
Me
Wonderful,
too.
wonderful group of people.
Yeah, Lord Chaitanya's mission, it's almost like deep, esoteric, powerful spirituality for dummies. That's what could be the name of the book.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Not
for anyone-
dummies in the
for
sense,
anyone.
not the dummies that we have no intellect, but dummies like it's Kali Yuga, and people are just not equipped for what they used to be for, how they used to be prepared for the yoga system.
Yeah, the yoga system was for people that had intense self-discipline and
Yeah.
renunciation. And,
It's like, okay, this guy's disciplined. I'm going to give him
yeah,
some.
even if you don't have that, take this. And when
Yeah.
you take it, you have all that. It comes with it automatically. You let go of everything in this world just naturally when you receive that grace.
And that is Dameshwar Mahadev,
hands out.
Mahaprabhu.
Yeah.
2 hands out. Come on, come and get it. Come, it's yours. Can you come get it? I'm here. I'm giving it out freely.
Yeah.
And we're just like, I'm too busy. My show's on tonight, Netflix. I got this series I watch. Take it, please. Don't you understand? This whole world is temporary. I got stuff to do. So you're so lazy in Kali Yuga.
All right. Should we turn it over to Mara? See what she's got to say. Any announcements?
Mara, how are you, Mara? We took a nap. We slept hard, like went right into REM sleep. Ever have those naps where you go like right into like a dream, like some intense dream? Hi, Mara. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Our podcast will be at this time for mostly for the rest of the week, but it's 6:30 a.m. Eastern time if you want to join us live.
Okay. That's it.
Well, alrighty.
That was easy.
6:30 a.m.
Yes.
All right. You ready to get back into Bali Maharaj's story?
Ah,
You don't sound like you are.
yeah.
Maybe the
Yes,
other
I
day.
am. I wouldn't
Okay.
mind meeting a pilgrim. Want to meet a pilgrim first?
Uh,
Yeah, let's meet one.
ugh,
Come on, Poppy. Come on down. Have we met Poppy yet?
I'm not sure. Have you been on the show?
All right,
Poppy's-
Poppy, come on down. Yeah, right
Like
here.
there.
Come on down means get over here on the couch and move over a little bit.
There you go.
It's Poppy, she's here with your boyfriend, your husband. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, pressure's on.
What are you waiting for? What are you two waiting for?
What are you doing? Put a ring on it. All right. Is your 3rd year anniversary? Okay.
Oh, definitely. What are
All
you
right,
guys waiting
Harry
for?
Ball. Now what do you come closer here? Get on the screen. So Poppy is from Australia. She was part of our Kirtan school. Mridanga school. Yeah, Mridanga school. And how's your time in India? Now you came to Mayapur.
Oh, amazing. Being at GEV was like the perfect safety net I knew I needed
Bubble.
coming to
Bubble.
India.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Mayapur feels like a nice little expansion, kind of like
Yeah.
next step.
Mhm.
Yeah. So just baby step.
Then we're going to throw you into Kumbh Mela.
No.
A side squirrel note. I ran into some old devotee I'm friends with from the Kirtan, 24-hour Kirtan, and he said, yeah, we were in Varanasi, and he was distributing a book to some guy with headphones on. And the guy with headphones was listening to Wisdom of the Sages.
Wow.
And so we took him to Kumbh Mela, and then we shaved him up, and he's living in our ashram now.
Whoa. Sorry about that.
Be careful out there, people distributing books. Be careful what you're listening to.
No, but where did they run into? In Vrindavan?
In Varanasi.
In Varanasi, a person that's from what 24-hour Kirtan?
In Vrindavan.
Interesting. Wow.
So anyway, that's a side note. You were already into bhakti when you got to GEV?
Yes.
How did you get into it?
I accidentally came across Bhakti in 2021 at a place in Australia called New Govardhan Farm.
Oh, we hear
Went
so
like-
many great things about him.
So
I've
many
never
people
been there.
go do my YTT, just personal development, and next thing I knew, I was associating with the devotees. I went to Mongolati, and the rest is history.
Wow.
How many years ago was that?
2021. So
Oh, okay.
Before you met Nathan? Oh, did you have this like talk with him? Like, I need you to know something about me.
It's a little weird.
yeah. And so yeah, it's been like a bit of a dance together, like navigating Bhakti and my spiritual life and his spiritual life.
Well, he
and-
seems to be doing quite well. He just plugged right in with us.
Well, I dragged him in the kirtan today. How did that go, Nathan, today when I just pulled you right in that kirtan?
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
You seem like you were liberated. You're like, yes, I've been waiting for someone to pull me in the circle. She won't do it. Well, great. Any deep realizations today or?
Today, yeah, like I haven't had an opportunity to connect too much really with the Lord Chaitanya and everything he did. And like
Yeah.
this is really being in Mayapur the first time I've really felt his presence in my life and
Right.
just feeling really grateful. This whole trip, this is the first time I felt like my heart wide open with gratitude for Prabhupada because none of
Oh.
us would be here for him and grateful for Lord Chaitanya and yeah, really feeling Vishnu's power through all of these incredible teachers who we're so lucky.
Wow, Poppy, that's great to hear.
Beautiful realization. Thank you.
Were you with us last night when we took darshan in the temple?
No, someone needs to tell me where this temple is because
Okay.
Such a big place, but you missed the temple.
The temple. All right.
Afterwards.
Yeah, maybe we'll go there tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, Poppy.
Thank you,
It's great.
Poppy.
It's great to hear these stories. You know, it is true that you become overwhelmed with appreciation for both Prabhupada, for what Prabhupada's created in Mayapur, and Lord Chaitanya. And if you have any inkling of like this kirtan attraction to kirtan, I mean, you gotta give some props and appreciation for Lord Chaitanya
Proper appreciation.
and Prabhupada appreciation.
You know that's where props comes from, man.
from Prabhupada.
The propers. Proper appreciation.
Oh, it comes from proper.
Yeah.
I thought you were
I remember 'cause-
Prabhupada.
no, it
If
comes
you're
from
really giving
Prabhupada.
props, really giving him props.
No, because I remember many years ago, the word dis came up, and I said, "Yeah, disrespect," and you said, "Oh, I never put that together."
To diss somebody. Okay.
Disrespect. Yeah.
You know where app comes from?
Application.
Yeah. See, you teach me, I teach you.
Did you?
Okay, continuing on.
All right, let's get in Bhagavatam. Huh?
Rayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we start in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 22, Text 15.
Okay, a little quick recap.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just reading about
Yes. What were you?
remember we were just mentioning a moment ago about chant the holy name, make no offenses.
Yeah.
I was reading about Gopal Chapala.
Oh, yeah.
Gopal Chapala, me, Jiva, Mara, Sophie, Mo, and Lex. We're reading. Gopal Chapala, he had some issues with the Vaishnavas.
He was criticizing them.
He was criticizing. And so what he did was they were going to chant every day with Srivas Thakur at Srivas Angam, which is where we're going tomorrow.
Yes.
There were the secret kirtans happening at night.
Mhm.
And so what he did was he put all this paraphernalia, Gopal Chapala, put all this paraphernalia of the worship of Bhavani or the goddess Durga in front of his door, like he was secretly worshiping the goddess. Now,
For materialistic.
yeah, no, for
purposes.
materialistic purpose. When people hear about worshiping the goddess in America, they think, oh, it's a wonderful thing. The goddess. I'm the goddess. I feel like a goddess. It's
the
much
goddess.
different when you come here. The goddess worship means you're sacrificing goats, you're eating the flesh of goats, you are drinking wine, and then would you like some prasad? And you offer the prasad as wine or liquor as prasad. So it's a very different practice. And why? Because you want the Shakti of the goddess for material benefits.
Yeah.
It's much different than I want Krishna prema. So they put all this paraphernalia outside is to sort of frame Srivas Thakur.
Right.
And so Srivas Thakur, without any reaction, just goes, oh, you caught me. Oh, notable man of societies, please come around. And all these people come around. Brahmins, notice they found out what I do. And of course,
Was he wearing a smoking jacket when he said that?
oh, respectable gentlemen of Mayapur, please hear me. So anyway, they immediately realized like this is all bogus, and they cleaned it up. But Gopal Chappal had noticed he started developing leprosy. And he went and while he was on the banks of the Ganga in pain, Lord Chaitanya was bathing in the Ganga, and he reached out to Lord Chaitanya and said, "Oh Mahaprabhu, you must help me, give me shelter." And he said, you are the savior of the fallen. Who is more fallen than me?
Yeah, he was at rock bottom.
He was at rock bottom at that point. His body's in pain.
But not just his body's in pain, his limbs are rotting away.
And his limbs are rotting away.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
That's rock bottom.
That's rock bottom. And Lord Chaitanya said, what?
He said, I can't forgive you. If the only way that you're going to be relieved of this is to.
Well, he didn't say that yet.
Oh,
he said, you sinner.
Okay, excuse me.
He said, you sinner, how dare you? You offend the Vaishnavas by trying to frame Srivas Thakur, a great soul. You can't be saved for lifetimes. And he went on his way.
They just left it there.
And just left it there. Left it there. It was sort of like, oh, you thought like, okay, now he's going to be saved. No. This is like the greatest offense. And Lord Chaitanya just spoke. This is the problem with offending the Vaishnavas. The Lord himself takes offense. The Vaishnavas takes no offense. Srivas Thakur takes no offense, but the Lord takes offense. But later, he did get Lord Chaitanya's mercy. And he said, please, you must forgive me. And he says, listen, I can't forgive. Yeah. But you go to Srivas Thakur's house and beg for forgiveness. And if he accepts you, then of course you'll be forgiven. He says, that's all I want. And of course, Srivas Thakur forgives.
Yeah, took no offense.
Vaishnavas take no offense.
It's kind of, I can imagine the love that a parent has for a child. You could probably relate to this, right? It's like that love is so deep and strong that when someone offends your own child, the anger in you is far more than it is in your child.
Sure.
Right? So
or even in you.
What do you mean?
Like, for example, if someone hurts my feelings.
Oh, yeah,
it's
more
just
than
like,
yourself. Yeah,
whatever.
Much more.
Someone hurts your kids, you get all mother bear on them.
So that's how Krishna feels towards the offender of his devotees, right? That's how Sri Chaitanya was feeling about the offense towards Srivas Thakur.
Sure.
It was like, it's not a flaw in God that it's not that God has these attachments like we do that could cause someone to become angry or something like that, but it's love.
It's a deep love.
It's a deep
Bhagavatam
love.
laughed at me, but Bhagavatam, mother bear is a real thing. Like they say, if you're hiking in the forest and a cub, because they're quite adorable.
Get away from that
cubs,
cub.
Get away from the cub, because cubs just want to play because they're babies. But if you screw around with the cub, the mother loses their mind. You know who else does that?
All kind of mothers.
Owls.
Oh yes, owls.
#1 killer in the Adirondacks. Owls.
Yes. They come down on your skull.
Yeah, they come on the skull and clamp the skull. 500 pounds of pressure of talons. Pop! You can't even tell how the person died.
No,
They're just like dots in the skull. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Why did we get down on this squirrel anyway? Because we're just about.
We were talking about offending the devotees.
Why were we talking about that?
Because we said there's two types of people. There's two things we follow. That could be like a T-shirt.
But we had moved on from that.
I know, but I thought I brought it back. I brought it back because it's important.
All right.
And now we somehow ended up in murder when animals kill.
Okay. So then let's get into the story. There's a quick recap, right? The
Please,
Bali Maharaj is
please.
tied up. He tried to give
Oh,
everything.
yes.
He said, "You can put the third step on my head. I'm surrendered to you. I'm not resentful of what's going on."
And you think that's the end of the story. It's like, oh, what a
Yeah.
beautiful story. But wait.
Yeah, but it's like, no, he's arrested. He's tied up. And but then what happened right when we left off was he's tied up there. He's still surrendering. He's still been rejected by his people, rejected by his guru. Everybody's saying you're a fool. Look what you've done. On the one side, his demon community is like, what's the matter with you? You gave everything away. We finally had. And then the devotee community, like headed by Lord Vishnu, is like, you said you were going to give 3 steps and you only gave 2. It's like,
It's like, I have no, he's like, I lost my tribe.
yeah, I lost my tribe. I
The
lost
devotees
everything.
don't like me. The demons don't like me.
But but actually, he's feeling fortunate somehow because of this love for Krishna that's arising in his heart intensely. This Krishna prema, he's feeling like, I'm fortunate that even Indra, who's getting the whole universe back right now, he's getting a little bit of Krishna's grace.
Yeah.
I'm really getting Krishna's grace. But then something happens that shifts the mood. His grandfather, Prahlada Maharaj, wanders into the scene.
Yeah.
So now he's like, this is my Lord Vishnu here. I don't care if I'm tied up, humiliated, whatever, I'm his devotee. But then Lord Vishnu's greatest devotee, his grandfather and hero, Prahlad, walks in, and now he's thinking, oh, he feels so ashamed that I would be seen as a criminal in the eyes of Lord Vishnu. He's just like, with deep humility. Now Prahlad's going to talk.
It's pretty exciting. We haven't heard from Prahlad in a while since
Okay.
he was a young boy.
Yeah.
Now he's a grandfather.
Okay. It's just time keeps moving, doesn't it? These
He's been
seasons,
slipping
these
into the
seasons of our
future.
lives.
Seasons change.
Yeah.
Okay, text 15,
16.
16. Prahlad Maharaj said, my lord, it is your lordship who gave this Bali the very great opulence of the post of heavenly king. And now today, it is you who have taken it all away.
Take it back.
I think you have acted with equal beauty in both ways.
Very profound statement. Let's get back to that, but keep reading.
Because his exalted position as king of heaven was putting him in the darkness of ignorance, you have done him a very merciful favor by taking away all his opulence.
Okay. Interesting idea, right? That at one point you gave him the entire universe. At another point, you took it all back. I see both of them as your mercy, right? Not one or the, the typical thing was when you gave him everything, that you're being merciful. Maybe in some kind of deeper devotion way, taking it all away was mercy. He's saying, I see it. I see everything coming from you as mercy. Why don't you read the commentary to that?
Yeah. Today we were saying in our class at Dameshwar Mahaprabhu that once you invite Lord Chaitanya into your life, Lord Chaitanya starts to peck away, if not lop away, massive things that are harming your devotional life. And so in this case, it's sort of like everything in the universe that he was the owner, he was the possessor, he was the master, he was the king. Once you invite spirituality into your life, then all of a sudden your material life starts falling apart. You still have a great spiritual life. And in spiritual life, you can have or you can not have, but we're each unique beings. That's very interesting. Everyone's a unique being in this room. We got a big, if you can't see the group, but we have a big group of people in this room with us today. Everyone's a unique being, and we all have some heavy burden that we're carrying around with us that we just refuse to let go of. And it's that burden.
It's okay, Bobby.
You think are you saying I'm your burden?
No, I'm saying you can let it go right now. Come on.
Mine's gone.
You said we all are carrying it.
Well, everyone is. I'm pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty
everybody but me.
Well, first, what Lord Chaitanya does, he shows the mirror. He holds a mirror up to you when you go to a holy place like this, or you get serious about chanting japa, or when you get just serious about your spiritual life. He holds a mirror up so you can see, like, oh, this is so ugly. I've been living in my ego for so long. I think this was so cool. It's actually part of my ego. And then he either takes it away or makes you see how ugly that thing is you're carrying through to some circumstance.
A little uncomfortable.
makes it uncomfortable in your own
Awkward.
flesh.
Uh,
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you have an option. I can actually let it go, or I decide now I'm going to keep this heavy burden with me. And I take it on further.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Why don't you read this commentary? I think it's going to relate to what you're saying. I got it over here.
Come on, man.
Right there.
What do you think? I'm a hawk? How am I supposed to read this?
It's just like the same distance.
As it is said, Yasyaham anugranami harisyeta dinam sanai. That's from the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
It is by the mercy of the Lord that one gets all material opulence. But if such material opulence causes one to become puffed up, isn't it a great term? Puffed up. It means very proud or arrogant. And forget the process of self-realization, the Lord certainly takes all the opulence away. Oh,
Ouch.
it's so real. The Lord bestows mercy upon his devotee by helping him find out his constitutional position. For that purpose, the Lord is always ready to help the devotee in every way. But material opulence is sometimes dangerous because it diverts one's attention to false prestige by giving one the impression that he is the owner and the master of everything he surveys.
Mhm.
Although actually, this is not the fact. To protect the devotee from such a misunderstanding, the Lord, showing special mercy, sometimes takes away his material possessions. Yasyaham anugrinami harisye tad danam sanai. Why don't you share a personal story where you're publicly humiliated? You got something for me?
Yeah. Let's get a real humiliating. No, but
Come on. You got something you want to share?
you want me to share you a story
Something where you felt
publicly
like, yeah, I got
humiliated?
my life together, and then all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, I could share one.
Okay.
I've shared it on the show before.
I want a new one, a fresh one, a real humiliating one.
I'm going to just share this one. That you know, and we've shared some stuff about this, but this is like back when I was a brahmachari, a monk. The I would say there are different monks that had different moods, and I was blessed by their association in different ways. But there was, in some circles that I moved in, there was kind of like a I would call it a bit of a military kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Vibe, mood, but more like environment or
Yeah.
you know, like dynamic. You know?
Top-down management system. Okay, fall on the rank and file.
Yeah. And there was even a little something in there like chewing someone out, which might seem to be very contrary to the awareness that we're trying to develop, that the gentleness of a Vaishnava,
Yeah.
the kindness, that chewing someone out. And I'm not saying that there's no place for that, but it was kind of like almost like really normalized.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you had a rank higher, then it was almost like that was almost like a privilege that you could use at any time, or
Chastise people on
Yeah.
a regular basis.
yeah. And as we were talking about earlier, you'd rationalize it very easily. You know.
The guy chastising me for leaving the water on while I brushed my teeth. That story yesterday.
Oh, yeah, what was
It's like, Prabhu, you're wasting water. It's like, who the hell do you think
But-
you are?
but that's not even like really like chewing you out. That's just like a little.
It's just like sort of one
a
up
little
and you.
condescending.
Trying to like just establish it was a real rank and file thing. What are we talking about? You joined one day before me, and all of a sudden you're my authority now.
All right. So you know, at a certain point, I had I was a leader of a little
Army yourself,
yeah,
platoon.
a little platoon, let's say. And I remember that one day I really laid into there's one monk that was traveling with us. He was a unique person. He was one of these people that wandered off to the Himalayas and discovered bhakti there. So he was into meditation, and he kind of came in through a different way that most of us did. So he had certain sensibilities in that way that I didn't have.
Right.
So I laid into someone. I forget the exact reason, but I kind of really laid into someone. And then when I was done, he just turned to me and said, "Oh, now I see. You are just like all the rest." You know, yeah, you were just like all the rest. You have no control of your mind. I see that he's just, and honestly, he was when he was saying it, I was like, he's right. You know? It was embarrassing, you know, and it was kind of humiliating. But
Did you learn?
I like
Did you
to
learn?
think that I definitely took it very seriously.
Okay.
Maybe not at that moment.
How about now with me?
What
You learn
about
to
now with
treat
you?
me? Treat me.
Do you think I need to have you out sometimes?
I
Is that what you're
think
asking?
you do
Show my
having me
love
out.
in that
I
way?
think you do having me
It's
out.
but they're both my grace. No, but I had to take that seriously, and then I had to think about it, and I thought, you know, because like my guru, he would chew you out,
He was like a double barrel shotgun.
but I saw that he had this way of actually building people up through it. You know, it's like he would kind of dismantle you, like,
But he'd build you up.
but then he'd build you right
He'd
back
build
up.
you right back up.
Yeah, you'd
Like,
be
right when you-
stronger than before.
He'd be stronger than before, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just like random shooting people down. It was
Yeah.
like he'd chop you down and build you right back up.
And so what I realized is when I do this, nothing good really ever
Yeah.
emerges from it. And so I really had to try to get control of that.
You know what? Then Radha Swami entered our life, and we learned a different approach
That
to
was-
correcting people,
It was a whole different
and
thing.
it helped us learn how to correct
It was like, oh,
juniors by
I saw like, oh, that's actually like real Vaishnavism right there.
Yeah,
You know, like
and they were like,
that's, yeah. Oh yeah, he's not rationalizing anything. It's like, it's all on this level of really deep Vaishnava dealings. Like,
you're really actually concerned about a person. The
Yeah.
person's doing something that's not proper. You're actually concerned, and you share how. Listen, this is like an important Vaishnava principle here, and you because I don't want to see you go down that. You really say in a caring way.
yeah. So in any case, we're hearing about Bali Maharaj. He's embarrassed now.
Mm.
He now Prahlad has walked in, his grandfather,
Mm.
and this person who he has like the deepest respect for. And he's saying, look at me now. Like, it's almost like if you were like on trial for a crime, and then like your parents walked in, or someone that you really loved and respected, an elder, you know, if someone that you admired walked in, and you're like, oh, look at me, like, here I am in this situation. It's like, you know, he probably would never expect them in this situation, but now here I am. But Prahlad's not, you know, he's not judging or anything. He's just saying, he's appreciating, you're giving my grandson mercy. You gave it this way, and now you're giving it this way. Whatever it is, it's your mercy. And then Srila Prabhupada comments, taking this verse from Bhagavatam that Srila Prabhupada used to quote. And this is, you know what the context of that verse, that when I really, Krishna saying, when I really love someone, I take it all away.
Mm.
You know the context?
No.
It's in a conversation where
Oh, Lord Shiva and Brikasura.
yeah, well, it's a conversation between Maharaj Pariksit and Shukadev Goswami, where Maharaj Pariksit says, he says, it seems odd to me that Lord Vishnu is like, has incredible opulence, and Lord Shiva like lives like a poor man.
Mm.
But all the devotees of Lord Shiva seem to be like wealthy and materially well-to-do, and all of the devotees of Lord Vishnu seem like they're like poverty-stricken. So how is that, you know? And
Good question.
yeah, and so a conversation ensues about how this actually is Vishnu's mercy, you know, that he granted. And I was looking at that and reading the commentaries to those verses, and there was a nice commentary that said this, that devotees of the Supreme Lord experience both happiness and distress, not as consequences of material work. In other words, not as
It's not some karma.
it's not regular karma, but as incidental effects of their loving reciprocation with the Lord, right? That they've stepped out of the realm of karma. And then this quote was also shared. There was a quote from the Gopal Tapani Upanishad. So this is going back to the Upanishad.
Tell me.
It says, devotional service, you know, or bhakti, is the process of worshiping the Supreme Lord. It consists of fixing the mind upon him by becoming disinterested in all material designations, both in this life and the next. And it results in the dissolution of all karma. And we've been talking about this, like, even in the Q&A, like yesterday, I think it was, right? where we're talking about, like, what is the initiation ceremony? We hear that Diksha or initiation eliminates or destroys the karma of the initiate.
Mm.
But, what is that and how does that work? It's because once you lose interest in trying to enjoy the material world and you decide, my life is for God now.
My life is yours.
Yeah, then that's what dissolves all the karma, because the karma is to get you to that position,
Mm.
right? The karma is to get you there. And that, I was reading, that led to like another verse.
Put
'cause
you down a deep
it
spiritual rabbit hole.
it took me down a rabbit hole. And you know where that rabbit hole took me? It took me to the prayers of the personified Vedas, which is a fascinating chapter.
No, that was that's a chapter of the 10th canto that when I was young, I'd read it, but it was like, okay, I'm skipping over
What's
this part.
going on here?
It's one of these things. It's like the Vedas are offering prayers for like 40 pages. I'm just going to skip back to one of those fun Lord Krishna beats up a demon. But now,
like, there's a lot of good stuff in here.
now I go back like this stuff is actually
It's
very valid.
explaining life and what it's all about.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting.
So you know what I discovered about the prayers of the personified Vedas?
No. First of all, it's very interesting that the Vedas have a
Are
personification.
They're people.
They're beings.
They were. We should really go through this, but when you have the prayer of the personified Vedas, it's sage level 5, Raghunath. It's like it may be the deepest story within a story within a story within a story within a story in the Bhagavatam.
What were we joking about yesterday? Like something level 5.
Yeah, I forgot.
Does anybody know what we're talking about?
Oh, it had to be that spin-off level 5.
You know,
That was from All in the Family, spun off of the Jeffersons. Spun off
the good times, good spin off from all. We're like
Bentley.
Bentley is spin off level 5 from All in the Family. Anyway, anyone north of 50 will understand that joke if you're not, and from
Okay.
America.
But you really don't need to.
You don't need to at all.
Don't
But
Google it. Don't search for it.
you'll never find it. But the idea is that Sage level 5, when Kaustubha mentions that, it means like we're stories within a story within a story, and that's what the Bhagavatam is. You're wrapped in bubbles, other bubbles. So
Yeah.
the personified Vedas are Sage level 5, which means it's a story within a story within a story.
And
within a
just
story.
so that we understand who they were, and I hope I can get it right now. So the sages in Naimisharanya are hearing from Sutta, who's speaking about the conversation between Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadeva Goswami, who then takes the conversation, I think, between Yudhishthira and Krishna. And Krishna takes that conversation to some other level. It may have even been like sages asking Narayana Rishi a question, and then he goes to the sage of the Tapaloka,
Oh, really?
who described that, or maybe Krishna took him to sages at Tapaloka, and they describe the prayers of the personified Vedas, which was described by one of the 4 Kumaras. And these are the prayers that the sages are speaking before creation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really far out stuff. So anyway,
Someone's got to make a visual map of this.
that would be pretty cool. So here's a verse.
I bet somebody has.
I bet someone.
I bet ChatGPT could do it right now.
You go for it, Raghunath. Go for it.
But
But anyway,
I don't have the paid version.
okay. But here's this. This is from the prayers of the personified Vedas, Canto 10, Chapter 87, Text 40.
Thank you.
And it says, when a person realizes you, in other words, when they realize Lord Vishnu, when they realize God, are we okay with this drink over here? It seems like a major operation. These carbonated water is very complicated.
Not that advanced
All right.
to open carbonated water. I have my
Never really worked that
just
one.
didn't do it.
Here's 1p. Okay, here's another one. Here's your water. Okay, so
All right, let's
Here
hear
it
this
is.
prayer by a personified.
when a
book.
person realizes you, right? When we realize who Vishnu is, who Krishna is, when a person realizes you, then they no longer care about their good and bad fortune arising from past pious and sinful acts, since it is you alone who control this good and bad fortune. Right? It's like when we actually kind of get our head clear and understand that there's a person behind all that law, and those laws are there. It's just like a reformatory kind of process to bring us to recognizing that person again. Then we don't say, oh, let me manipulate good and bad karma. Let me let me go and confess my sins so that I'm relieved of them. Let me do some prayashchitta. Let me do some ritual. So that kind of, or even let me break free of the actions and reactions of this world and find some kind of peace and liberation. When you realize the person behind it, then you're no longer at all concerned about how can I manipulate or best profit from this system, or how can I find the most comfortable position within this laws of action and reaction.
It's so interesting because most of what we know as Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma or metaphysical reality is to understand how the universe works,
Yeah.
How the subtle universe works, and how we can get a better position, better karma, enjoy better sense gratitude. The whole thing is about elevating your consciousness in a sort of a metaphysical way.
Yeah.
And Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita are saying, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's not it at all.
Yeah.
It's just more of the same stuff, just in a more refined way. Krishna said, ultimately, it's all temporary. Don't you get it? You're going to have to give that up too. You need to be fully, materially exhausted to get this stuff.
You know, when I saw that woman dancing today, you know,
You're like, she's a liberated soul.
well, what? Yeah, like that. Like she's liberated from these kind of concerns.
Right.
You know, we all have different kind of trauma and different things to get over. But what I saw in her is she's over it.
Right.
It's like, you know, even though her situation seems like it was probably a very difficult situation, she's just let it all go, and she's not at all
overly concerned what people think about her.
overly concerned, or even like in an active, conscious way, or even like scarred unconsciously. I didn't even see that in her. She was just she was free. You know?
Sure. I had an uncle that was cut off all his fingers. Not on purpose, by mistake.
Wow.
But he was always sort of like, you could tell it was like bothered him. He
Yeah.
He
It's
always
always an
keep his hand in
embarrassment.
his pocket
yeah.
and stuff like that. And I was like, I was a kid, so I was weirded by it too. But he was always embarrassed, and I always felt bad.
Yeah.
And she
And that's
was
natural.
It's
Yeah.
natural, you
Yeah.
know.
But this is
She was free from, like, she was fine in her body, fine in her skin, so to speak.
happy to serve, happy to dance in kirtan, just happy.
Yeah.
Right.
Like be the center of the kirtan, not just dancing kirtan.
Yeah, right.
Like
She's like, let's get this kirtan going.
Like, yeah, she was like that.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. I think, are we out of time, Mara? Is it that time? Okay.
Mara,
Yeah, let's have some takeaways. What you got?
what you got, Mara?
What you got?
What you got? Something?
I don't have a microphone, but I don't got. Because you're next to her.
Chant the holy name and do not criticize.
Those are the two things. One,
That's
two.
so simple.
That's all I got. No.
That's all we need.
That's all you need, actually.
Serve and feast with those you love.
Serve
and
and feast
feast.
and dance
Chant
and chant
and serve.
and touch the feet of those you love.
Oh, look at that marriage. You
Dismantle your rationalization for criticism.
got to dismantle.
Dismantle your rationalization and criticism.
Oh, okay.
Dismantle.
That
Do
one's
you?
mine,
Yeah, you do. You do. Well, it's important to take note and, discern that this person's a jerk.
Vaishnavs take no offense, but the Lord takes offense.
Mhm.
This one's a t-shirt, I think. Chaitanya chips away.
Oh,
Chaitanya chips away.
Chaitanya chips
Chaitanya
away.
chips away.
yeah. Okay.
Next time you feel some loss, some hurt, some betrayal,
That's just Chaitanya chipping away.
Just chipping away to find the jewel.
Just don't
There's-
say Chaitanya chips ahoy, Raghunath. Okay.
Chaitanya chips ahoy. Famous American cookie. The idea is that, because there's a jewel underneath. You got to chip away.
Invite spiritual life and your material burdens fall away.
Invite.
Invite.
Invite spiritual life and material burdens fall away. Very good notes today, Mara.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. She listens.
She does.
Once you lose interest in enjoying the material world, your karma disappears.
Poof.
Mm.
Clear your head to understand the reformatory process and recognize the source.
Okay, a little wordy, but
a little
but
wordy, a little
important.
verbose.
You can't give me too much praise, can you?
Why you get too proud? It's not mine.
He
Fair,
give it
that's
and then
fair.
he take it away.
All right, cut.
I said.
And
Yeah.
It's gonna be a dancing dwarf. I know it.
get away from the baby cub and the baby owl.
Oh yeah,
Get away from baby cub and
owlet. It's called an owlet.
An owlet. Stay away from the owlets, people.
All right,
Serious problems there. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
everybody.
That's where you start clapping.
Woo!
Can we
All
show
right,
the crowd?
we are here with the crew. Let's show the crowd. Let's
Gotta
spin this.
move it slow. You gotta
Move it slow, Mara. Pan it. Pan it. We are here live with our crew. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Look at these beautiful people. Woo, woo.
I see.
Krishna bolo jai Radhe bolo. We are here tomorrow. Another ecstatic day of the joy of loss. We call it.
Joy of loss.
The joy of loss.